We're international fishing rights, and we're going to be talking about the impacts of overfishing.
So, starting off with commercial fishing, which is the activity of catching fish and other seafood for commercial profit. Um, common method common methods of fishing include fishing with nets, fishing with lines, and harvesting. Fish contain omega fatty acids, which benefit anything from our immune systems to fighting depression in comparison to red meat diet that increases chances of type 2 diabetes and heart disease. It's natural that people want to embrace the healthiest choice of meat, um, while fish beat out all other land dwelling farm animals and humans' overall consumption.
So when we look at commercial fishing and like the most commonly used techniques, we have fishing with nets, which is using a large net to trap as many fish as you can in the water. This is going to be the most common form of commercial fishing, as it captures the most fish the easiest. Then there's also Persine. It's a large wall of netting that's wrapped around just a big group of fish. This netting you'll have floats on the top to keep it stable, and it also allows the net to stay in place around the school of fish. And then next there's trawling. It's a big net that's attached behind a ship, and the ship is going to slowly move across the water and catch fish along the way. And then last but not least, we have gill nets. This is an illegal form of commercial fishing, but it's still used. Walls of netting are designed to trap fish by their gills, and then it only allows the head of the fish to pass through, so then it traps them by the gills. So it's just really inhumane, so we don't want to use that form.
And then we have recreational fishing. So obviously we have fishing with lines, which is pole fishing. It's a common sport. Catches one fish at a time. Long lines are super similar, except they are miles of fishing line, so they cover a lot more area, and then they have multiple lines and hooks, so they catch multiple fish at a time as well. And then pole and line are labor intensive methods where water is sprayed at the back of the boat and bait fish are thrown into the water and catches fish one at a time.
So then we have commercial harvesting. First kind being dynamite. This is a very dangerous method of harvesting. It's dynamite is used to stun or kill fish, so then they're easier to collect. This is not very commonly used as it's very dangerous. We also have dredging. This is going to be heavy metal baskets that are lowered onto the seabed and they're dragged across to collect the shellfish. And these like metal baskets, they have little claws that collect the shellfish. And then we have traps and pots. And then these are going to be cages with bait inside them, and they're suspended in the ocean. They're all attached to a main line, which makes it easy to collect by the fishers later once the shellfish are caught. And then last but not least, we have diving. This is not used as commonly as you have to collect shellfish by hand, and it's really inefficient. It's where divers dive into the ocean and pick up those shellfish by hand.
So overfishing is the rapid depletion of fish species by excessive commercial fishing. So dependent on how we want to view the success in our community by the stability of our food sources being fish, it depends on if it is defined as overfishing or not.
So, for example, the northern cod population was almost driven to extinction by overfishing. It had just fallen to about 1% of historical levels. This was in 1992. You can see that on this graph here as the population of the cod just suddenly declines in the late 1900s and really never recovers to its initial population ever again.
So the impacts of overfishing, generally there are no great impacts on the fish. Obviously, species will be continue to be driven to extinction and endangerment, and ecosystems in the oceans and the seas will collapse. And the impacts on humans, though mainly beneficial because we have a stable food source with fish, the impacts of overfishing can cause loss of food source in the future with the instability of the production of the food.
So some of these fish species that are in danger are salmon, tuna, marlin, halibut, cod. groupers, sharks, rockfish, and whitefish, salmon, tuna, halibut, and cod making sense as they are some of the most heavily consumed fish by humans.
Overfishing impacts on humans, starting off with the future loss of food source. The loss of fish stocks caused prices to increase and supply to decrease, making the availability of fish eventually lower and declining. Economic problems, less fish means less hands, so overfishing has led to unemployment and general loss of livelihood to some people in the communities where that is a main food source. Difficulty in fishing with lower populations of fish, it will take more effort to meet global needs.
So why are these fish such an important part of the human diet? They're a low fat, high quality protein. Red meats are usually high in saturated fats, which are like the bad fats, whereas fish contain these really good omega 3 fatty acids. They're very heart healthy, otherwise known as the good fats. And these fish diets can also reduce the risk of stroke, depression, Alzheimer's, and other chronic illnesses. So it kind of seems like a no brainer. They're also a great source of vitamins and minerals. They're a great source of vitamin D and iodine.
So, overfishing destroys marine systems more or less by affecting the production of oxygen in the ocean, as we learned in this class. It further contributes to the algae blooms and leaves behind waste in the ocean, which can further detriment and really just cause loss of species and habitat around our aquatic ecosystems.
So a whopping 34.2% of fisheries are overfished. This is over a third of all the fisheries in the world. And this is really leading to those population declines and those high extinction rates.
How can we help? So, as consumers, we can make better choices. Looking at the sustainably harvested logo on product labels, purchasing those products instead of others, meaning that they're harvested from a sustainable area where the fish won't be endangered or extinct and it's available in the future.
So there are many guides like this out there that help you make those sustainable choices. This is a guide provided by the Monterey Bay Aquarium. And it's going to help you make good choices regarding your consumption of fish, what to consume, and what to try to avoid.
And then you can also just vote with your pocketbook. So choose according to what's best for you financially and what's in your best interest economically. Make sure to express your opinions through your actions, like what you buy at the grocery store, perhaps.